Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to sportsnetusa.net, where we stream live sports to you folks. Now, obviously, as you know, for the past year, it's been a little weird because of COVID and the pandemic and lockdowns and everything like that. So we haven't really been able to stream the sports that we used to stream. So instead, we're doing something a little bit different right now. Instead, each week we're coming to you with interviews with coaches, with players, with people within the college sports leagues to talk to you about what's happening in those leagues, what's happening at those schools. But I've been doing a little bit of a special bit of interviews lately. My first two interviews you might have saw were with different head coaches out here in Scotland talking about football. But today I have a really special guest that I'm really excited to introduce you folks to. This person is someone who I actually was able to watch play football back when I was in university. And he's someone that I truly admire, and I think he has an amazing story, and what he's done in football is pretty remarkable. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to you now, Duach Jock. How are you doing today, Dutch?
Hey, I'm doing amazing. Thanks for having me, Jason. I really
Yeah,
appreciate it.
yeah, of course, man. It's so nice to have you. Like, I like my first time ever seeing you play was my freshman year at Point Loma. I believe, you were a senior at the time. But you, like, for those, people might not be able to tell because you're sitting right now. But you are 6'6". You are a very tall man, and it was like one of the most you were just such a amazing player to watch, especially when I was in university. Of course, at that time you were playing more of a forward role, where now you play a little bit more of a defensive role for the teams that you play with. But yeah, that was my first interaction with you as a player, and just so that way we could get the audience who's right now watching this a little bit more on board with who you are and everything like that. Dutch, would you mind sort of giving us a little bit of your football history and sort of where you're at now?
Man, it's talking about those days at Point Loma. I miss those days. I miss those days. I can remember like it was yesterday when I was playing in that field.
Yeah.
Just overlooking the water, the beach, and that sunset every training and every game. But I basically went through every football step, the pyramid of U.S. soccer, to make it to where I am today. I went from starting just playing from a park to playing for a club, to go high school, from high school to college, from college to semi-pro, from semi-pro to professional to make it to the national team. So I took all the possible steps that you can imagine, and it was quite a journey. It was quite a journey, and I was blessed. I was really blessed, and I'm glad I got to experience every single step on the way. The hardship. Sometimes it makes you feel like, hey, you know, this is what you need to be at, and I was there. So it's a blessing. It's really a blessing to take all those steps. Yeah.
So I really want to I kind of want to end on the international side of it, but I want to kind of start with like your high school into college sort of days. When you were doing high school, was that in San Diego, California, or where was that you were going to high school?
So I started high school at Lincoln High School.
Okay.
Abraham Lincoln High School, which is down the street from my house, which is Southeast San Diego.
Yeah.
So I went there for my freshman and sophomore year. And then the school had to be shut down because it had to be rebuilt. And so what happened, they gave us a choice. So from that year, they gave us four choices. My choices were Mission Bay, Sierra High School, Scripps Ranch, and Madison. Coincidentally, the coach at Mission Bay was Joe Pennion, which was my coach at Surf when I was playing club soccer. So I chose to go to Mission Bay after Lincoln. And as a freshman, I made varsity, which, I mean, it was amazing for me to make varsity as a freshman, but it was already a goal that I set to myself since I was a kid. So from Lincoln, we moved. School got shut down. I ended up transferring to Mission Bay, so I had to bus to school every morning. I had to catch a bus to school to Mission Bay. I got to Mission Bay, already the coach knows me and I know the coach already. So that's how I got into Mission Bay. And I started playing for the varsity again. I went there as a junior, as a junior at Mission Bay. And Mission Bay is literally right down the street from Point Loma Nazarene, But even before that, long story short, Coach Tim Hall already knew me from when I was in 7th grade, 8th grade, from like church camps. We went to church camps. So he already kept tabs on me, So it was something that I already knew where I was going to go to college before I even went to high school. Yeah.
Did you have offers to other universities as well, or was Point Loma pretty much the only place that you had any offers from?
Oh, this is the crazy part. I had offers from San Diego State, USD, offers from Akron, offers from I had a lot of letters were piling up in the house. But at the time, I didn't have an advisor to tell me, hey, this is where you got to go and study this, or if you want your soccer career, go here. So you can, But I already knew I wanted to go to college, and get an education. Soccer was just second. Education was number one. Tim Hall came through, and he basically guided me through the college system and let me know what I needed to do. And also my parents were, in the back of me in my ear telling me, hey, school. So it all worked out the way it's supposed to work out, obviously. So
that's so interesting, because obviously for people who are currently listening, obviously now Point Loma Nazarene University, which is the school that Dutch and I are talking about, is now under the NCAA banner. But at the time when you were playing there, it was still under NAIA, which is obviously a drop below NCAA. So for you to make that decision to not go to like a San Diego State or to an Akron or one of these places that is a Division I NCAA school, instead go to an NAIA school. Do you have any regrets at all for not going the NCAA Division I route?
To be honest, now that I think back at it, I don't have regrets. But at the time, I did have a regret, because I even had offers from UCLA. I went to UCLA for 2 weeks training camp. And I was going to sign with them. But then after the training camp, I refused. Me, myself, I said, no, I'm not going to sign for the school. It's just too big for me, Yeah, the culture was different. The vibes, it just didn't fit my vibe, But now I have no regrets. At the time, yes, I did, But from where I am now, I have no regrets to the steps that I've took. Yeah, so Point Loma was the right choice. It was the perfect choice to go.
Yeah, and like you said something earlier that about how your parents were always like education. And if I remember correctly, I remember once hearing you talk about how so for the viewers who don't know, Dutch is from South Sudan. And if I remember right, I remember hearing you say that as a kid in South Sudan, you only had like a couple of choices. It was either soccer or football, or it was university. And it was kind of those two choices. And if I remember correctly, your dad kind of would always be like, university is the thing. Am I correct in remembering that?
You're correct. You're absolutely right.
And so was that what was the main reason for that? Because obviously you have the skill, you have the stature to really excel from the sports point of view. So what was the main driving force for your parents to really push the education side for you?
It came from the struggle that they had to go through to bring us to the States, first of all, and also the lifestyle that we were dealing with back home, dealing with the war and most of the population not being educated, and so my parents made the choice to come here for us, for me and my siblings, to have a better life. And then what's better life? Education here in America. For you to be successful, you have to have a degree of some sort of degree, you know. And that was the mentality that they've had. My dad was a veterinarian from back home. He had his master's, PhD, you know, so he was well off back home. But that's back home. Now this is America. It's a whole different story. Yeah, a whole different story. So as a kid coming over here, you know, they sacrifice their lives basically, you know, to move to a new country, some place where they're not familiar with, you know, even the language. I mean, my dad spoke English, but that's English different from here in the US, you know. So I mean, it was just America, like they say, you know, it's the land of opportunity. You know, it's the American dream. You know, the American dream. You come over here, you try to get your education, you try to do better for yourself, and then from then you could pass on to the next generation. That's what my parents did, and they sacrificed that for us.
Very nice. And so like we've already talked about a little bit about your youth. We've talked a little bit about high school, going to and then going into university. And then after university, and this is something for people that might also be watching this right now. People might be currently in the college systems and kind of coming to this point where they're like, I don't know what to do next. I know that I love this sport. I know that I want to keep on playing this sport. Maybe MLS is too big of a leap for me, but there are other leagues out there. And this is something that you have had experience with. And as you kind of talked about, you've kind of gone through all the stages of football. So coming out of university at Point Loma, what happened next? What was the next step?
So my senior year, that season, I had a letter from the Portland Timbers. Me and Tony Mercarelli. Yeah, we had letters. This was around like December. We had letters. Little did I know, and that's why I talk about guidance and someone that's been there that can tell you, okay, take this step, and then you could end up here if that's your career. So we had letters from the Portland Timbers. To fly to Portland and go there for a trial. This was right before the MLS combine and MLS draft.
Yeah.
Little did I know at the time, this is the steps that I need to take. You know, all they did was they say, hey, if you can fly yourself to Portland, we will take care of your accommodations, your food. You know. So at that time, being honest, I could not afford a flight to go to Portland. I couldn't afford a flight to fly to Portland, you know. So I didn't end up going to Portland, you know, to go for that trial. And then after that trial, it was supposed to be the MLS draft. So I was go straight to MLS at the time. But hey, guess what? Like I said, all the steps happen the right way they're supposed to happen, and that's why I am where I am now. So after college. After that letter, I ended up going to the Flash, Senegal Flash, yeah, our home team.
Yeah.
And as a kid, I used to go watch the Flash play. I was one of those kids that played at halftime. I can remember like today, the Flash was playing against the Galaxy for the Open Cup at Mesa College. I was one of those kids that played at halftime. I went to watch the Flash play at Southwestern College when I was a kid. So after college, I wanted to continue my career. I missed the opportunity to go straight to the MLS from college. So there was tryouts. I heard it on the radio. I was driving to school actually. I was driving to class. I heard it on the radio. Senegal Flash, tryout. So guess what? I went and looked up. I went to the tryout. I made it. That's where I ended up meeting Clint Alexander, and I ended up meeting Warren, you know, and I made the team. And from college, I went to play for the Senegal Flash, which is our home team. And that's an honor. That's a very, very great honor for me because I ended up being the captain of our home team.
And if I remember correctly, you weren't the only South Sudanese player to be playing on San Diego Flash at that time, correct? Who else was also playing with you there at that time?
Yeah, so there was Kek Lam, who I grew up with playing with, and then there was Sibit Lam, Kek's brother, who I grew up playing with, and then there's Mohammed Fafana from Ivory Coast. There's Daniel Yesef, who we played together. So it was about 6 of us that played together since we were kids that made the San Diego Flash team. Yeah.
That's amazing. And so, so you're playing for San Diego Flash. San Diego Flash would be the next move up. And at what point, because as I kind of was talking about earlier, back in university, I know you played a little bit more of a striker role, and then you ended up transitioning more to a central defender role. So at what point in your career did that change for you?
So it actually started with Tim Hall in Point Loma. That's where everything started. So Coach Tim recruited me in high school. I was playing as a number 8, which is a attacking mid, box to box, and then a number 6, which is like holding mid throughout high school. But I grew up playing as a right mid, as a striker. So I'm always attacking. Somehow I'm always attacking player. But when Coach Hall came and recruited me, he saw me playing the 8 position in high school. So he brought me in. Literally that summer, my left foot was bad. I had no left foot. I came into training camp that summer from high school, straight from high school. I came to training camp and I was training with the college boys, training my left foot the whole time. So coach put me in center back. The first game I played center back was in Point Loma. Yeah. And so I tried to adjust. Coach helped me out. He gave me some pointers, and as playing the game, you just gotta adjust. Wherever the team needs you, you have to be there. So that was the first time I played center back. That was a Point Loma. And then from there, I played left mid. I played right back. I played right mid. I played center back. I played the 10 position. I played the 8. So I kind of played everywhere, and that's kind of where it actually helped me with my career now, And I grew up playing striker. You can ask anybody that knows me now. I grew up playing striker, and every team I play for, I'm a striker, and I score goals. But now I'm in the back. I'm the one tackling these guys that's trying to score on our goal. So,
to be fair, if I was running a goal and I had a 6'6" man staying in front of me, I'd be terrified. So, it's like either way, like you're a great football player. So as you said, it's all about adapting in the game. If you're so stuck in one position, you'll never grow. You'll never be able to be what that team needs. But obviously, so you played with the Flash, and then you kind of made the journey just a little tiny bit north, up into Orange County, and started playing Orange County, and then also played, I think, for LA Blue. So like you were jumping about in that Southern California region for a while, and during these parts, obviously, and this is something that I kind of want to talk about because. As I said, usually this site focuses on the streaming of like college sports. And so some of the people that are going to be watching are going to be more people revolved around the college game. So what was the difference for you going from the training system of Point Loma and the skill level of the players at Point Loma and the teams that you were playing to then the skill level and the training level of these other teams as you continue to climb up? Was it a remarkable difference each time you stepped up a little bit more, or did it seem like the same as you kept on going through?
Oh, it was definitely different. It was each step, each higher you go on the soccer pyramid is definitely a lot higher. It's definitely a lot more sharper, a lot more quicker. And the IQ is just a lot more higher. and it was definitely a jump up from college, for example, playing at the college level. Now you go to semi-pro, that's a whole different level. Now this is supposed to be the best of the best from college, or maybe, and then from semi-pro, now you jump to professional, and that's a whole different level, a whole different ball game. So each level that you go higher, the harder it gets, the more focused you have to be, the more technical you have to be, and the more sharper you have to be. And also mentally you have to be focused. You have to focus because from personal experience, playing at a professional level, there's guys that want your job every day. Every day, people coming in. Now, college level, you're there. You're set. You just have to perform. Nobody is gonna come and take your job away from you. If you understand what I'm trying to say,
yeah.
So, but each step was just a bit sharper, a bit more technical. Yeah.
And of course it makes sense. Like, obviously, as you keep on climbing up the levels of football, things are going to get tougher. And I kind of like that said, like in certain levels, you don't really have to watch your back. Where like after a while, it's like, hey, you know what? Like there's this other kid that is younger than you, faster than you, and all this stuff that is trying to get your starting spot. So you now need to work your butt off to make sure that you're able to still hold on to that thing that you've been working to try to keep. And so this kind of brings me to the next part of your story. And this is the part of the story that I really, really love. And this is your international side of football. And you kind of hinted a little bit on the war and stuff like that in South Sudan. And I think if we could we kind of go back in time and kind of talk about your parents a little bit? Because if I'm correct, your parents had to flee Sudan. Like, could you just give us a little bit more history on that?
Yeah. So this is like back in let's say what from what I can remember, when I was, because I was born in '86, so it was around the early '90s, like let's say around '92s, '91s. That's how far back I can go to. And I was just a kid at the time, but I can remember the journey like it was yesterday. Somehow, some way, I remember how we traveled through countries, walking by foot, taking like hitchhiking, basically hitchhiking, to another city, to another village, to try and get comfort and be safe, basically. So my parents chose to take that route around 91 for us to end up in the US by 94. So this is about a 3 years, almost 4 years journey that we took. So it was quite intense, to be honest. It was quite intense. Like I remember some journeys that it was like, hey, it's life or death, life or death situation. Yeah. And yeah, go ahead.
No, it's something that, and like for people who are listening that might not know a lot about it, if take time after this interview to just educate yourself a little bit more on civil war in Sudan and South Sudan and everything like that, because it was a travesty. Over 2 million people were murdered, and there was a lot of warring between different tribes and just different groups. And but then in the 2000s, South Sudan gained independence. And what the part of the story that I really love is the fact that you are now representing South Sudan on the international stage. You are a member of the South Sudanese national team. And a country that your parents had to flee because they weren't able to be safe. They were scared of for their lives. For now, you to be able to wear this flag and to wear this emblem on your chest and represent this country. How emotional was this? Like, how emotional were your parents seeing this, like this change in history almost?
You know, my very first call up for the national team, it was one of those to where like it didn't kick in, it didn't sink in yet. It did not sink in. They called me up, got me a ticket. I flew, went to training camp. First time back in the country ever since I left as a kid. When I left as a kid, I don't remember anything. I don't remember a lot, because now you talk about the capital, Juba, and from our homeland, we're in the Upper Nile, so we're like in the north. And then we're mostly around the Tope area, from refugee camp to refugee camp. So we migrated around. But going back home, literally flying back home, and landing back home in the soil. This is South Sudan. So I came off the plane. I literally kissed the ground. I kissed the ground like I'm home. This feels like home, And that's one of the moments, first moment that I can cherish for all my life. And now it's time for business. It's time to actually you have to work. You have to make these fans happy. You have to represent a nation and people. So first ever experience walking into the stadium, game time. The stadium is packed. I'm telling you, 3 hours before the game, our buses coming in the stadium. As soon as we turn a corner, you see the stadium just packed. People are cheering. People are and that for me is one of those moments where it hit me like good, So now I'm playing soccer. I'm playing football.
Yeah.
Football brought me back to my homeland, and that's something that I can, is no words can ever explain.
Yeah.
Now kickoff time. We're playing in the stadium full of our fans at home, at home. National anthem. At the time, I didn't even know the national anthem. I had to try to sing along, maybe 2, 3, 4 words here and there, but that moment, it's one of those to where now you represent something more than yourself, and that's a blessing, that's a gift. And the hard work that I've done over the years, that's the moment that solidified for me. Yeah.
That's so beautiful. And I think another thing that I find really beautiful is like a lot of people could just experience that and just stop there. They could be happy in that moment and be like, you know what, I've done it. Time to move on. I go on, live my life, do have a nice car, have a nice house, whatever I want. But you have continued to not only play, but you're also working very hard to create a future for other young people in South Sudan that can come up and sort of help grow this South Sudan football team. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about the work that you're doing with your academy down in South Sudan?
Yes. So when I was down there, I ran into some street kids, and these are some young boys. You're talking about maybe 7, 8 years old. Some street kids, and they were outside the stadium. And after our training, it was just a training session. We came out of this training session, and these kids are just sitting there. They're supposed to be in school, but they're not in school. Like we said earlier, education. So we came, me and Ladule and Francis, we started talking to these kids, and at the time, we really didn't know Arabic. Well, Francis speaks Arabic fluently. Me and Ladule, we don't know Arabic like that. But we started talking to them, tried English, but small English for them was little. They don't speak English. So that kind of touched me because I was one of those kids. I was one of those kids at the time where I was young. All I did was try to play soccer. Try to imitate the older guys that were playing soccer, and I looked up to a few people that were playing at the time. So our academy started based on that. We wanted to get these kids education first of all, before soccer. Soccer comes second. Bring these kids in, train them, help themselves. like I always say, given the opportunity to give an opportunity. And so now our academy is it's probably the biggest in South Sudan, you know, and it's Future Stars Football Academy. You know, so we have kids from all corners of Juba. And our main goal is to get kids from all corners of South Sudan, you know. And so give these kids an opportunity so they can better themselves, they can learn something, and they can use their skill to get somewhere in life, you know. And so that's an amazing part, that we have an amazing committee, we have an amazing group, you know. And so that's one thing that for me, it touches me, because I can go back and say, hey, yes, this kid right here, he's gonna make it. You know, he's gonna make it, and then he's gonna make it for himself. He's gonna make it for his family. You know, so and a lot of those kids were looking up to us as national team players, as players that played outside of South Sudan, and so we became role models in a way for them to actually smile. You know, to smile. So for us to put a smile on their faces, we gotta put smiles on their faces too. You know, so
that's amazing. And could you just also, because I know before the interview, you and I were talking a little bit, how many of these kids that you have been working with in this academy are actually representing South Sudan on the under 21s or under 17s or under like what how has that been translating for you folks?
Yeah. So the amazing part about this is we have 6 kids now that are representing the national team under 17. And even before that, we had the whole academy. This was under 12. They traveled to Korea, South Korea, for a tournament. And this tournament, there's kids that came from New Zealand, there's kids that came from Japan, there's kids came from Brazil, and our kids won that tournament under 12. Yeah, they won that tournament. These are our academy kids that won that tournament. So on the older ages, under 17, we have like 6-7 kids that play under 17 national team. Under 20, we have 4 guys playing under 20. Under 23, we have 3 playing under 23. You know, and just recently they played under 20 Sekafa, and our keeper ended up being the best keeper of the whole tournament. Oh. You got awarded the best goalkeeper of the whole tournament. So there's amazing things, great things happening with these boys, with these kids, you know, and we're just trying to get their names out, and our main focus is to help them help themselves. That's basically what we're trying to do. You know, hopefully they can maybe sign for a bigger club, and they go on. They live outside of South Sudan, because life in South Sudan is pretty hard. It's very hard, you know. So for them to sign for another club outside of South Sudan, or even get a scholarship to come to the U.S. and study in the U.S. in the university for 4 years and get your degree and play soccer, that'll be it for us, you know. That's something that we're trying to achieve.
That's so beautiful, and I'm so happy to hear that. And yeah, that's it's just so amazing to hear the things that you have done, the things that you've set up, and yeah, you've taken your experiences of how you've gone through life, and you're setting up a better future for others that are going through experiences similar. So like, I just want to personally say congrats on everything that you've done so far, because it's absolutely brilliant, and it's something that you should be very proud of. Dutch, it's time for the quick fire round though. So it's time for me for us to get to know you a little bit more, and answer some of the least important questions to ever be asked. So starting off, Dutch, are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Perfect. Dutch, who is your favorite team?
Arsenal.
My boy. Yeah.
Let me show you. Just and the viewers too. The viewers can see. You see?
Oh, that is a beautiful flag. I'm loving it. So perfect. So your favorite team is Arsenal.
Yes,
what is your pregame meal?
Oh man, that's a tough one. Yeah, I just I just eat anything that I feel like eating. To be honest with you, it could be a burrito, it could be a burger. I just so anything.
Fair enough. What player do you really just like not like to watch?
Suarez. You know why?
What's your favorite song to listen to get hyped up for?
Oh man, that's a good one. That's a tough one. I'm more of like I like my playlist. You'll be surprised at my playlist. I have everything, all the genres on my playlist.
Okay.
From jazz to rap to slow music to soft rock, to Celine Dion.
Okay. You heard it here first, folks. Celine Dion is the key to being a good football player.
Dynamic. It's those days in Nairobi.
Okay. Who is your least favorite team?
I would say Manchester United.
Okay. NSYNC or Backstreet Boys?
NSYNC.
Okay. What player did you look up to as a kid?
Zinedine Zidane.
Oh, very nice. And then finally, two last questions for you. Where is it that you are currently playing? What club are you currently playing for?
So right now I'm playing for a team called North Texas Legends, UPSL team. This was my first season playing with them. We're about to start the next season coming up. And so, North Texas Legends.
Awesome. And then last but not least, to any viewers that are watching this, whether it be young kids or people that are currently about to go into university or people just coming out of university, what words of advice would you want to give any of these football players that might be listening to this right now?
So first of all, you have to be committed. Be committed and work hard. Work hard. It's not going to come easy. It's not going to come easy. Do your training. Get your rest. Nutrition is very important. Okay, and stay focused. Follow your dreams. If you really want it, you will get it, but it's hard. Just keep working on it. Don't give up. Do not give up. It will come. It will come.
Perfect. Well, Dutch, thank you so much for being a part of this interview. It was such an honor. And I truly believe that anyone watching this is going to be so happy to have just met you. Dutch, good luck with everything. Good luck with the academy in South Sudan, and good luck in Texas. So thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you, Jason. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you, man. It's been a long time.
It has been a very long time. And you are quite welcome. With that, folks, thank you so much for watching this interview. Once again, this has been sportsnetusa.net. Go there to watch, to stream any of your favorite college sports, but also go there to look at other interviews that we've been doing with some great guests. Go check it out. Go on YouTube. Go to our website. Thank you so much for watching. You've all been amazing. Have a great night.